What if a single man can control the fate of nations and amass unimaginable wealth? Once a petty thief, Pablo Escobar climbed to infamy as the mastermind of the Medellin cartel. By the 1980s, his drug empire commanded 80% of the global cocaine market. Born in 1949 in Colombia, Escobar came from a lower middle-class family. He kicked off his criminal journey early in small-time crimes like selling fake diplomas and smuggling goods. While the diploma selling gig was pretty safe, Escobar was driven and chased bigger thrills. In those early days of crime, each smuggling run was a masterclass in darkness. Bordered by bordered, bribe by bribe, Escobar learned the shadowy dance of the legal trade. He discovered which guard could be bought with a whisper, which route laid hidden from prying eyes, and which men could be trusted with secret word killing for. Every successful crossing taught him something new. Perfect timing of a moonless night, subtle sign of an undercover agent. These were not just lessons, they were building blocks of an empire that one day made kings tremble. In the end, he did not just master the art of smuggling, he rewrote its rules in blood and gold. By the 1970s, marijuana trafficking was booming in Colombia and Escobar jumped into the game. But he quickly figured out that cocaine, which was becoming super popular in the United States, was way more profitable. Escobar took charge, making sure his cartel controlled everything, from growing cocoa leaves in Bolivia and Peru to refining them into cocaine in secret labs tucked away in the jungle, all the way to smuggling routes that delivered the drug to the United States and Europe. Power. That's what Pablo Escobar craved more than anything, even more than mountains of cash that made him infamous. In a calculated move that would prove catastrophic, he slithered his way into Colombian political arena, desperate to cloak his criminal empire in the respectable robes of democracy. The year was 1982. While cocaine dollars flooded the street of Medellin, Escobar orchestrated his grandest deception yet. He secured a position as an alternate member of Chambers of Representatives. It was a masterful chess move, or so he thought. He stood in the halls of power, a wolf among sheep, ready to pronounce whenever the primary representatives stepped aside. But fate had other plans. One by one, the whisper began, first from journalists, then from politicians, until they grew into deafening chorus of suspicion. Who was this man, who seemed to conjure wealth from thin air? What darkness lurked behind his careful, crafted facade? Enter Rodrigo Larabanila, Colombia's fearless Minister of Justice. Like a hunter stalking dangerous prey, in 1983 he struck. Before the eyes of the nation, he ripped away Escobar's mask, exposing the drug lord beneath. The proof was irrefutable. Escobar was cast out of Congress, political dreams lying in rules at his feet. But in destroying Escobar's political ambition, they had awakened something far more dangerous, his rage. As he retreated from the chambers of power, the fallen congressman's heart hardened into something deadly. His brief taste of legitimate authority had turned to bitter, and Colombia will soon pay the price. Blood began to flow through Colombia's streets like never before. Judges disappeared in broad daylight. Police officers were gunned down in their homes. Politicians who spoke out against cartel found their courage rewarded with bullets. Each death was a signature, each assassination a reminder of who truly ruled Colombia. Politicians, judges, officials, all found envelopes stuffed with cash in their desks, each carrying the same silent question: which side are you on? But Escobar wasn't just buying influence, he was buying time. And for those who would not be bought, he had other methods. The first of all was Rodrigo in 1984, the same man who had dared to expose Escobar's criminal empire, now laid dead on a Bogota street. His assassination a brutal message to anyone who would challenge the king of cocaine. But this wasn't just another murder in a country plagued by violence. It was a declaration of war. The government's main priority was to prevent Escobar's extradition to the US, where he would face far harsher punishment than in Colombia. in exchange for turning himself in. Escobar negotiated an unprecedented deal with the Colombian government. In 1991, Escobar surrendered to Colombian authorities on condition that he would serve time in a prison of his own design. This arrangement was known as the Deal of the Century and allowed him to remain in Colombia, thus avoiding extradition to the US. Escobar's prison was far from any ordinary penitentiary. Lavish parties were held inside the prison, and it became clear that Escobar was living in luxury rather than facing any real punishment. The main reason Escobar agreed to be in prison, even under such favorable conditions, was to protect himself from escalating violence of his rivals and the Colombian government crackdown on his cartel. President Gaviria decided to move Escobar to a far more traditional prison, stripping him of his privileges. When Colombian authorities attempted to relocate Escobar in July 1992, he escaped. With the help of his loyal guards and an extensive network of informants, Escobar fled into the mountains around Medellin, starting a massive manhunt that would last for 16 months. Escobar's luck finally ran out. On December 2nd, 1992, Colombian authorities assisted by the US managed to track him down in the middle of a middle-class neighborhood in Medellin. Escobar was hiding in the house with his bodyguard. Authorities pinpointed Escobar's location after he made a phone call to his son, which allowed them to triangulate the signal. A search party quickly surrounded the house. An ensuing firefight. Escobar and his bodyguard attempt to escape by climbing onto the roof. Escobar was shot and killed on the rooftop during the firefight. He was hit by bullets in his torso, leg, and one fatal shot to his ear, which is widely believed to have been the cause of death. There has been speculation over whether Escobar was shot by authorities or he took his own life to avoid capture, but the official version is that he was killed by Colombian police. Escobar's death brought some relief to Colombia, but it did not end the drug trade. As the Medellin cartel collapsed, rival cartel groups rose to dominance for a time, followed by other drug trafficking organizations. The US and Colombia war on drug continued, but Escobar's reign as the world's most notorious drug lord was over.